Assalamualaikum everyone. In this video, we will be continuing talking about the issue task. We will focus on how to structure an essay, how you can brainstorm a sample issue task, and we will be looking at two sample essays of score 6 and an average score 4. So, let's see, what do you have? Okay, if you remember, this was the sample essay issue task we were looking at, and I'm going to continue using this. It's as people rely more and more on technology to solve problems, the ability of humans to think for themselves will surely deteriorate. Now, this falls under the technology and society category, so let's see how to tackle it. Now, you have 30 minutes exactly to write an essay. The first question that comes to mind is how, and that how should be in bold and capitals unless you're already an expert at this. So, this is where a plan will come in handy a lot. Your first step should be to brainstorm for approximately 2 minutes. It's basically you just jotting down whatever comes to your head. And what exactly does this mean? I will show you in a second. The second step is to organize your outline, and you have 3 minutes to do that. If you recall, in the previous video, we did a quick agree disagree list on the issue topic at hand. Now, this is the time where that list would come in handy. You can take any single one of the points you made in the agree or disagree column. For example, one of our points was technology saves time on mundane tasks, right? The explanation would be, for example, a very, very common example would be the cars save traveling time. And this is the part where you can add more than one examples to show relevance. And the evidence would be if there were no cars, the time spent thinking about and developing alternate forms of transportation would be much longer. These are quick points you can jot down, and the combination of point, explanation, and evidence gives you an entire paragraph if you put it into proper sentence structure and elaborate on it. Try to keep it 1 point per paragraph, otherwise things will start to get mixed up and your flow will get disrupted. And just like that, you're done with the main body of your essay. A bad idea would be to take something like, for example, in this point, explanation and evidence, we said cars save travel time. Another explanation that you could give is how dishwashers save you the time and effort it takes to washing dishes, right? But it is the same thing. If you try to put it in as a different paragraph, you're just repeating yourself. So you might be giving a volume to the body of your essay, but it doesn't really count as much. In fact, if anything, it might come out as negative. So that's something you should take care of. The next step is to just write your body of essay. Like I said, you have your points, explanation, and evidence, and if you elaborate on those, there you have it. Done. Easy peasy. Next, you write the introduction and conclusion. Why? Because you already have the body, you know how you can end it, and you know how you can give an introduction. Now, what do you write in the introduction? You can take the task and use the space for an introduction to introduce your stance on it, whether you are for it or you are against it, and a very quick review on why you feel that way. And what do you write in the conclusion? Refer back to what your original take on the issue task is and do a quick overview of all the points you have made in the order you have made. Now, an introduction you can even get away with like a sentence in a 1 sentence long introduction, but not the conclusion. A conclusion should be a couple of sentences, there should be some sort of elaboration in it, and it should be finished off smoothly. That's the point I'm trying to make here. What else did I jot down? The final, okay, no wait. The thing I keep saying with sentence structures is you don't have to make the entire paragraph just one very long sentence. If you keep doing that, whoever's trying to keep up with it when they're reading it, it's going to tire them out. So vary it. If you have a long sentence, try to cut it into two if you can. If you can't, then follow it up with a slightly shorter sentence. The final and most important step is review the essay. No matter how well you think you have typed it out, because remember, you're going to have to type it out. You're not going to handwrite it. And this is where your typing speed is going to come in handy a lot. But yeah, you need to review it. You will have typos, you might have repetition errors, things that we're going to see in the samples coming up. So it's very important to go back and reread it at least once to pick up on the mistakes you have made. Oftentimes it takes more than once. It takes more you reading your work more than once to find all the mistakes you made, and you might still not get all of them. So first of all, don't beat yourself up over it, but you do go back and review it. It's very important. Now, this is one plan to tackle the issue task. You are more than welcome to explore other plans that for example, you might need more time to brainstorm, or your brainstorming and outlining might just be one thing. It might not be two separate steps. So just go ahead, try out a couple of sample issue tasks and find your take on it. Find what's the most comfortable way for you to tackle it. But do that before the day of the exam, preferably not exactly the day before the exam. So the next slide, what are we talking about? We're talking about brainstorming ideas of the issue task. I picked up a couple of questions from the EDS website on how to tackle the issue task, and I'm going to take you through some of the answers. Warning, there is some sarcasm, but we need some of that. What precisely is the central issue? So the issue task says that the technology is bad. I mean, is it really? That's what it's trying. It's like it's asking you, is technology bad? I mean, unless we're talking about robot world domination, I think we're pretty much okay, right? Second question, what precisely are the instructions asking me to do? What are they asking you to do? They want you to take a side, they want you to back it up, but they also want you to defend it. That's why the instructions are twice as long as the issue task. Third question, do I agree with all or any part of the claim? Why or why not? This is where that agree disagree slide comes in, but off the top of your head, I did this before I did the agree or disagree slide, so this is what I came up with. I mean, let's face it, we don't want to give up our phones, so we're definitely not against technology. And I'm sticking with my calculator example here. Helps you. It definitely helps you. But again, mental math flow, it's the case of dependency. So where there are advantages, there are definitely also disadvantages. But these are some very quick points that you're going to come up with, and they're probably going to stay the major focus of your essay. So it's a good idea to write them down before you forget them. Next question. What is it? Yes. Does the claim make certain assumptions? If so, are they reasonable? What are the assumptions this is making? It's claiming that all technology is bad. And this is where the reasonability comes in. I mean, again, we wouldn't have advanced so much as a race if it weren't without the help of technology, right? Right. Okay. What's next? Question 5. Is the claim valid only under certain conditions? If so, what are they? It's assuming that we can just erase technology from our lives just like that. It's like you started eating cheese and you can just stop eating cheese, for an example, from a person's diet. So you can't eradicate technology. It's integrated into our lives, into the society, into culture, into everything. So removing it you could call it an option, but it would be a very extreme and severe option. So that's something you should think about. What's next? Question number 6. Do I need to explain how I interpret certain terms or concepts used in the claim? This is a very good question because it points out that when you read the issue statement, how you perceive it is not the same as how someone else might perceive it. So it also brings up the point that if we're going to bring up references, please explain them, because without explanation, the reader can take anything from it. They're not necessarily going to take away from your explanation what you want them to take away. Okay, if I take a certain position on the issue, what reasons support my position? So, in a moment of sarcasm, I came up with, well, you can't just write that, obviously. So yeah, what I'm trying to say here in a very sarcastic way, obviously, is that the examples and explanations you give have to be relevant, and it can't be something redundant like how your great aunt got anxiety from technology or something like that. It has to be something very on related to the issue, very relevant. That's basically the entire thing. So you should think about what you're saying, what you're going to put down before you just go ahead with it. Again, this is not something that you're going to realize until you practice it a couple of times, so please do that. What examples, either real or hypothetical, could I use to illustrate those reasons and advance my point of view? Which examples are most compelling? Again, if you're going to use personal anecdotes, sure, explain them. Real world examples would be better because that is possibly something that the reader might have come across as well, so they know how to relate to it. And this brings up another point which I actually forgot to write down in the presentation. You could use hypothetical examples. You could talk about a world where humans, for example, you could talk about a world where humans never advanced with technology, we're still stuck in the dinosaur age, etc., etc. You could talk about that, but you'd have to come up with a very good way to relate it to the topic. Next, what reasons might someone use? Oh, sorry. What reasons might someone use to refute or undermine position? This brings up the whole defense thing. Um, what did I write? All right, no one really knows what goes on inside a calculator computer, do they? I mean, okay, I'm going with the whole robot world domination theme here. I have no idea what I was thinking when I made this presentation. Anyways, so again, this is brings up the whole agree disagree list we made in the previous presentation. So if you're taking the point of agreeing with the issue task, you also need to know how someone might disagree with it, and if they are going to bring up those points, how can you turn them around to your point of view? And I think we have one more question. How should I acknowledge or defend against those views? Again, skipping that step lets them reach. Yes. So what is this talking about? Calculators. I think I was thinking about calculators when I wrote that if we don't have to do every single calculations ourselves, like trigonometry, calculus, etc., then we can reach solutions faster. Again, how do you defend them? This was defending the point that it's technology is making us dependent. It is making us dependent, yes, but it's also getting to conclusions faster. Okay, what do we have next? Okay. Um, I know this is very tiny, and I'm just realizing that it's blocking off some of the sides. I'm sorry about that. I didn't realize that until now. So this is a sample response of a score 6 that I got from the ETS website. Please go ahead and read it. Pause the video, go to the ETS website, or open up the presentation, do something, read it. It'll make everything that I'm going to talk about now so much more clearer. So this essay was given a score 6. First thing you're going to notice right off the bat, there are barely 2, maybe 3 minor errors in this essay. I'm talking about, let's see, I saw something here. Was it here? There are some errors. I think I forgot to highlight them. Okay. But okay, let's talk about why this was given a score 6. It's clear that the writer disagrees with the statement and has given several reasons to back it up. In paragraph 3, yes, they talk about where does it say that? The car, computer, all release. I should probably have highlighted it, but they say that technology gives additional time for people to live more efficiently, and that the problems we face today call for more creative solutions, right on both accounts. And then they go on to show how technology allows for the linking of ideas that are otherwise not possible, which is continued on in paragraph 4. It talks about internet and how we're bringing people together through ways that have previously not possible. Now, overall, when you look at this essay, there is a flow to it. There's no sudden stops. You're not talking about one thing and suddenly start talking about another, which all give it a very good, it's a good essay. There's flow, they've got good points, they've defended their point of view as well. They back it up, and it has a smooth conclusion. It doesn't mean it's absolutely perfect. Like I said, there are some minor mistakes, but they are minor. That's the thing to remember. Now, moving on to an essay response of score 4. Again, I just realized that this is hindering some. Okay. What is this saying? What did I write about this essay? In the last line of paragraph 1, the author says, using technology to solve problems will continue to help us realize our potential as a human race. This one sentence establishes their stance on the issue, and it also explains it. They continue to talk about how it gives humans a chance to expand their thinking and learning, opening up whole new worlds for many people. The writer has made two very clear points. The first one about using technology to solve more complicated problems gives humans a chance to expand their thinking and learning, opening up blah blah blah. This is their first point. And they backed it up with how technology gives us access to information otherwise not possible, etc., etc., etc. In their second point is in paragraph 3, when they start talking about how we're in a golden age of technology, using all the time during our everyday lives. Again, very relevant point, and they've backed it up. Excellent. Now, what did I write next? There's some jumping about in the essay. Let's talk about how this essay is not as great as the score 6. In paragraph 3, we're talking about the golden era, right? Now he starts by talking about microwaves, and then they start jumping to cars. So there's a slight disruption. There's no smooth transition, and there's no showing how the microwaves and cars are related. I mean, there is an implied point in the background how they're talking about saving time, but again, it's implied. It's not something that's obvious straight away. Overall, this essay is good. It's promising. There's good control on vocabulary and the mistakes. You will spot mistakes, but they're not glaringly bad mistakes. Now, if you compare this essay with the score 6 sample essay, the major differences you will note is that this essay is slightly shorter in terms of paragraphs. It doesn't mean, like I said, it doesn't mean you have to fluff up your essay with repetitions, etc. It just means that the author with the score 4 did not manage to come up with as many relevant points as the author of score 6 essay. And there's definitely a disruption in flow and sentence structure. These are basic mistakes that you can get control over as long as you practice. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. That's all I have for today. I hope this is useful for you. I will definitely advise you to go look at the pool of issues on the ETS website. Again, I will remind you guys again to do that and practice, even if you do it once a week, because it will show you how, especially if you're learning vocabulary at the same time, how you can integrate that into your essays without sounding over the top or too, what's the word for it? If you push in too many words, the meanings become jumbled up. So again, please practice and get someone to mark them. Even if it's your friend, to read them and find errors, because something you've written yourself, it's not as easy to find mistakes in them. Until next time, thank you for listening.